Welcome everybody to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Colin McEwen. In this week's episode, we're in beautiful Northwest Ontario in Sunset Country. I'm the guest of Hawk Lake Lodge. Now, I've been here before. It's a great place. I love the bass fishing. But this week, I've got somebody special with me. I've got Pete Mena, who's a very famous muskie and pike fisherman. We're gonna be talking about the differences between conventional tackle, fly fishing gear. Flies, the lures, how we present things. It's gonna be really fascinating. And we're also gonna be talking about structure. Great show. Stay with us. Fly fishing for smallmouth bass has always been very special to me. These hard-fighting fish are a delight to catch on a fly, and when conditions are right, they will rise to poppers. Landing a smallmouth bass is often tough because they continuously jump and never give up. These fish are full of stamina and determination, probably more than any species I've caught for their size. It's for this compelling reason I have traveled to Hawk Lake Lodge in beautiful northwestern Ontario. This award-winning Drive-to 5-star facility is operated as an exclusive private retreat. Hawk Lake Lodge is currently the only facility in Ontario and one of only a handful of elite fly fishing lodges in all of Canada to carry the official endorsement of Orvis. Hawk Lake has an outstanding smallmouth bass fishery, along with excellent walleye, northern pike, lake trout, and whitefish angling opportunities. Joining me today is lodge owner and friend Ted Putnam, who's a fanatical smallmouth bass angler like myself. After arriving at the lodge, doing some unpacking and setting up equipment, it's only left us a short time to fish on the first day. So after a delicious supper, Ted took me out on the main lake, not too far from the lodge, to try some topwater fishing. Conditions were calm and perfect for using surface poppers. When using a popper, you must cast out, let the fly settle, and allow the ripples to subside. Often, this is when a bass will hit. Then you impart a jerking motion on your rod tip to make the fly pop on the surface of the water. This action imitates a frog or any small animal struggling to swim to safety. When bass are eating poppers, the strikes can be fierce and explosive.
Oh, nice fish, Colin.
Well done, Ted.
You know what it was there? It was a real slow presentation. I actually let it sit for like 5 seconds. He came right up.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Whoa. There we go. I think we're going to need a net on this one, Colin.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, good job. Thanks.
You do the honors. Nice thick one.
That's what we're looking for.
And he took a green and yellow popper.
Sure did.
It's fairly small, isn't it? You're not using a large popper.
I want to try smaller. I like to go smaller sometimes, especially if the fish are a little finicky. That helps a little bit with the presentation. All right. That'll work.
So your fly is about half the size of mine.
Yeah, a little smaller.
Yeah, but yellow, a little bit of green, and something I think that's really important is having the rubber legs on there a lot of times.
I like that because
vibrate.
it gives a little action.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it looks like a dragonfly, just something vibrating in the surface, but real important.
Yep.
Let's get another one, buddy.
Let's get some more. So Colin, one of the mistakes that we all make, actually including myself, is sometimes we don't give the fly a chance to really work its magic, especially in a really good fishery where you know the fish are there and it's clear water. You got to give it a chance to just kind of sit, let the fish assess if they're going to take the fly or not, and don't work it too fast. If you notice the first 10 minutes we were fishing, we didn't catch a bite, but we were really working it too fast. But the last 2 fish we caught, it was a nice slow presentation. We let it sit, and as soon as we let it sit, the bass came up and nailed it. So that really lets you know that you're fishing a little bit too fast. You just need to take a step back and slow it down a little bit.
So is there a methodical approach you take to working islands like this, Ted?
Well, we're going to go all the way around, and I would cast it shallow, but there's a huge drop. You'll see it as we get closer. They were killing it there earlier, right on that drop, so I'm assuming that the bass are going to come up a little shallower this evening and see if we can't pop one or two.
There you go. That was a nice slurp. Feels pretty good. Oh yeah.
That'll work. Need the net?
I think I can handle this one.
All right.
So I switched colors, and that made a difference, Ted.
Yeah, second cast, boom.
Yeah. Had a black fly on. Switched to a brighter color. Oh, and
Catch and release.
catch and release. But I switched to a lighter color, and that made a difference.
So up here we have a bunch of lakes. Most of them are really clear though. So I find because it's crystal clear, a longer leader is going to give you a more stealthy approach. Sometimes even we'll go fluoro if we have to on a really bright sunny day. So you want to give yourself a fighting chance. The last thing you want to do is spook a fish. There you go.
Just look at it.
Yep, but right on that tree.
Yeah, right in that tree, just like you said, and letting it sit. Just like you said, Ted. There we go.
Totally sitting again.
No, totally sitting. You gotta let it sit. Yeah. They're really not super aggressive yet.
Nope. I don't even think you were looking at your fly there.
No, I kind of was, but I kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
But, so very true. And even though we're catching some small ones, we got one big one. These fish tonight are not really heavy-duty aggressive yet. Because I've been here with you before, Ted, and the fly barely hits the water and they're on it. And then gently let them go. There's the talon mark right there, and right there. I want to take his food.
At Hawk Lake Lodge, the meal choices are numerous and superb. The atmosphere is warm, casual, and intimate. The food, prepared to order, is plentiful and always delicious. While other lodges have cooks, Hawk Lake Lodge has a chef. If you have any special requests or dietary requirements, the staff at the lodge can accommodate your needs.
So Ted, we come out here this morning. What can we expect? What's the lake situation? What's the weather been? Where are we at with the bass fishing here on Hawk Lake?
We're calling some real warm weather the past week, but this little cold front has come in and we've kind of gotten back to normal June temperatures, which is cooler evenings and certainly cooler mornings. So the water temperature has dropped a good 4 or 5 degrees, and it's cloudy today, so we're gonna see if the fish are up. The warmer it gets, the deeper they're gonna get. So I think the good call would be to start with a little top water, see where they're at, and if we have to go subsurface, we'll go right down after them.
There he goes. Took it. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You don't see them till they're in that last foot of the take. But exactly where you said he would be, Ted, on the dark edge. You can see the line there, the rocks, then go up on top of the flat, do a little feeding, and then come back out. Oh, he's coughing up minnows. A lot of places, this would be a big fish. And here, this is a little fish. Look how healthy this one is. So let's put that like that, get him calm down. There we go. Well, I should just pop out. There it is. Nice healthy fish. There we go. Beautiful.
When fishing for bass, structure is key, especially if the structure is adjacent to deeper water. Bass like deep water, as it provides important security for them from predators. Structure you should pay attention to is rocky shorelines, shoals, fallen trees, weed beds, beaver lodges, or anything that will provide cover for ambushing prey. Hawk Lake is blessed with non-stop structure of this kind.
There you go.
What'd you say? Slow. Very slow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the enthusiasm of this little guy. But they're sitting right on that drop, Colin.
The one thing he noticed over the last few days, probably related to the heat, is that the fish were not really super aggressive, and that the best thing for us to do, throw the popper out, let the rings dissipate, give it a pop, let it sit. And it's really hard, especially when you're all juiced up like we are right now, first thing in the morning, had a good breakfast, caffeine, and we're all pumped, but it's the worst thing to do. We gotta let these fish come up, look at the fly, and then take it.
Especially in clear water. You can see them coming in slow motion, and you want to set that hook, but you got to slow down.
Oh, that's a nice fish. See that head come up? Oh, that was a wonderful take.
You were ready for him that time.
I was. And you know, it's interesting, Ted, you were just saying this, that, that's a bigger fish.
Oh, yeah.
So we got this sheer cliff behind us, or in front of us, excuse me, and they're basically little cuts, and they're like apartment buildings, and the bass will tuck right in against these dark crevices, and that's why you got to cast right into them, because they won't come out 3 feet, 2 feet. There you go. All right.
Now we're going in the right direction. Nice fish, buddy.
Oh yeah, what a wonderful take. Just came up there and
That was great.
but they're sitting there because things will fall down off these cliffs, grasshoppers, June bugs, all types of stuff. That's a nice fish.
Well, just because it's deep doesn't mean the fish aren't there. If the fish are there and actively feeding, as we've just seen the last 2 or 3 fish, they're going to come up from pretty deep water to nail whatever you're going to present them. And contrary to what a lot of people think, flat calm, it looks nice, little popper, top water action, I found just the opposite. A little light chop will hide your approach, make it a little more stealthy. Good
There
fish.
you go.
It's a good fish.
Good job, Ted. Oh yeah, that's a monster. Well done. Oh, let me get the net.
And that was a real slow take. He just came up and sipped it like a little trout.
Get his head up. And when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Got him.
All righty.
Give me 5, my man.
That was great.
Well done.
Oh, what a fun take. The cool thing is you called your shot like, Ted, there's a fish over there. Okay.
This must be, I had a fish swirl underneath mine. Oh, sweet. Look at that. Oh, look at the belly. Feeding well, feeding well.
Each day before dinner, hors d'oeuvres are served on the lodge deck along with cocktails. This provides an opportunity to mingle with other guests. You'll learn about the flies or lures that are working, and of course tell some great fish catching stories. This is also a great time to pick up some fishing tips and hear about the most current fishing conditions on the lakes. With 19 lakes to discuss, combined with the fact many guests have been here for 25 plus years, this is valuable social time indeed. One of the reasons I'm here at Hawk Lake Lodge, and what brought me here years ago, was I heard about the fishery, and it's partially because of the total catch and release that you've got here at Hawk Lake Lodge. Can you explain about some of the people who've come here, some of the celebrity anglers? I've certainly heard the Linders have been here multiple times. I've been here multiple times, not that I'm a celebrity, but you've got a lot of people who've come here because the fishing is so good for the walleye and the bass and the pike. Can you talk a little bit about that, Ted?
Absolutely. I mean, the word has kind of gotten out that we've been catch and release for going on 12 years now, and what that has produced is just an amazing trophy fishery. So we've had 14, 15 shows of different celebrity fishermen, including yourself, the Linders multiple times, Al, Dan, Troy, Jim, Winkleman a couple of times. A lot of guys are sort of chomping at the bit because they know that if they come up here, they got a shot at a true trophy fish.
And I think you even had some NHL players come here.
We got a few NHL players, and yeah, the word's getting out, which is kind of fun.
I'm pretty excited because today I've got Pete Mena from The Next Bite here. Now, he's actually not here for The Next Bite. He's actually shooting something for his YouTube channel. But we're gonna go out, we're gonna compare fly fishing to spin fishing in his boat. It should be a great day, and hopefully we'll get some pike and maybe some bass.
That'd be a bonus, absolutely.
Hey, man.
How are you, man?
I'm looking forward to the day.
Wow, is that it? That's kind of a small tackle box. I like that, though.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. So I think one of the things, Pete, that people who are watching this, whether they're a conventional tackle angler or they're a fly fisher, is the difference between the two. With fly fishing, we're basically using the line, in this case it's sinking line or it could be floating line, and the rod with physics to cast something that can weigh virtually nothing out to the target. Wherein with your bait casting system you're using right now, you're using the weight of the lure with the rod to cast it out. But your line weighs nothing. Where in mine, it's the line that basically propels it to the target.
So yeah, there are advantages to both, but I think on the bait casting gear, there's several, you know, with the more standard lures, a lot of the musky pike stuff we use is, frankly, some of it's huge. It's well over a pound in some cases, but the average lure would be about 3 ounces. And the difference is where you're talking the weight of your line, here it's literally the lure. I mean, literally you're just using the weight of the lure to load up the rod. And essentially what I generally tell people, instead of having to whip it, they want to whip the bait, you're literally just launching it through the weight of the lure. I tell them to aim at a cloud initially, and that seems to help people with these heavier baits. But yeah, you're just using that bait to load up and throw it on out there. Of course, you can get tremendous distances. And the bait caster, as well as providing resistance with the spool tension. So it basically keeps that lure from tumbling in the air. It'll actually fly straight, so you're getting more good casts without the lure tangling in the air, which could happen if you were using, like, say, spinning tackle where the line is free flowing off there. Here there's resistance, keeps that lure flying straight, even if you are throwing right into the wind.
Oh, got a pike.
Hey, I guess you just gotta let it hang there.
It would seem. And there's bass following it.
Really?
Yep.
There you are, buddy.
A pike.
Oh, look at that, he ate it too. He wasn't messing around. Was not messing around. Yeah, he ate that while it was sitting still. I saw the flash. Fatty.
Where's Mom and Dad? So Pete, we've talked about the difference between, you know, your bait caster and my fly rod, and how, you know, the line propels the fly to the target, and you're using the weight of the lure to get to the target for a pike or muskie or bass or whatever you're fishing. But the other thing is the difference between my flies versus the lures. So we're trying to fish different parts of the water column, from down deep all the way to the surface, based on where the fish are and where they're hunting. Probably the best thing, I'll give a good example here of the difference between things. So like I've got a large fly like this, which is a great musky fly and saltwater fly, but I gotta tell you, it's a big chicken to toss.
Yes.
But the good news is it's made with synthetics mostly, and so it sheds the water and it makes it a lot easier to cast. But I've got this fly, which has been really effective for me with the muskie, and then smaller ones. And sometimes they don't want a big bait. So this is what I'm using. Basically, that could be a Cisco or a shad or just even a big minnow. What have you got that's similar?
So there's a bunch of different things. We have crankbaits, jerkbaits, swim baits, and spinners are real popular as well. Now this is a classic swim bait here. This will only run about 3 feet down in the water column, so up over weeds, shallow rocks, that type of thing. On the other extreme, you know, we've got all different levels of crankbaits, and obviously that sharper, longer lip propels this lure down. You can run this lure down about 13 feet on a cast. It's neutrally buoyant. So you can let it kind of hang there. You can do a lot of different things with them.
Yeah, and if I could jump in, so you're using the lip here to get it down, wherein with what I have to do is use a sinking line
Right.
to get it down, but it takes a while for my line to get it down there. I mean, that's why they have different sink rates for these lines. So you can get down quicker and faster with this. So in that way, it's much more advantageous.
Yeah, it's a little more efficient. I think just in general, especially if you know where the fish are, in a lot of cases, the flies can be advantageous. I think they're a little more enticing, definitely on a negative bite. I think the advantage is with the flies at times, a little bit slower. You can't put on quite as much speed as we can with this kind of stuff to trigger fish. But there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. But it's interesting to see what you're doing to piece together the different levels of the water column as well, which is something, obviously, it doesn't matter if you're doing fly fishing or gear fishing. That's something you always want to do. You want to be checking the shallow range and mid-range. One of our biggest efficiency baits with what we do when we know the pike and muskie are real active, any kind of a spinner like this where you're just covering water. It's a lot of flash, a lot of vibration, a lot of speed.
Well, I think the thing is with the difference between the fly fishing and the spin fishing or conventional tackle, each has its time and place, and in the right conditions, you've got big chop, high winds, you've got to make distance. This is probably not the best tool. Conversely, sometimes the right conditions, slower, the fish are not as aggressive, this works really well. Of course, we're both dealing with the same problem right now, is we've got very clear water and bright blue skies, which is not the best for pike right now.
No, it's really not. You got to give it a try, and they can see a long ways in this clear water. There's a possibility that we'll get a nice window and they'll get pretty active, but this is about really as bad as it gets for gin clear water like this, but we're gonna try it.
We are. Let's go get them. There's a bass.
Well,
So not a bad sized bass. Nice and heavy. Look how fat
yeah,
that bass is.
very healthy,
Came up from underneath those trees.
which is always
Fat,
good.
feeding well.
Yeah, he is. Oh, that is cool with that clear water, watching them go. Sometimes with these cranks, though, they really only grab them on the paws, like that one.
Oh, you got him? Good
Yeah.
job.
So yeah, you kind of got to be, this one's basically neutral, it's not sinking, but sometimes it doesn't matter, but you can just crank them in. Oh, I got two other bass watching, following. That is so cool in this clear water.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's nice to see multiple fish. A little competition is never bad. Tends to make one a little more aggressive. You got to get the sandwich before your buddy. You can't risk it.
There's that sandwich analogy, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, how about that? Just a little male. Oh, nice take. Wow, I just put the fly out, just made the cast. I hadn't even had a chance to pop it. And the water's so clear here on the main lake, Hawk Lake, oh yeah, that you can see down 8 feet, no problem. So I'm trying to spot the fish, but that was excellent, excellent. Yeah, I don't want to break the tippet here. Got 8-pound tippet. Usually I use a little heavier, using 10 up to 12, but the water's so clear, I just don't want to spook these fish. Oh, it's a nice one. Nice, heavy. There we go. Bring him in. A little bit of a mark. And you can see how the belly, let me just get this hook out, just cut it in the corner of the mouth. There we go. Comes out easily. You can see how the belly, flat, it's already spawned out. Just put this because. Sweet. Wow. Well, it's that sad time and all great fishing trips have to come to an end. And I'll tell you, I had a wonderful time here at Hawk Lake Lodge. I want to thank Ted and Virginia Putnam for having us here. They're great hosts, and we love coming here. That's why we keep coming back again and again. And I also want to thank Pete Maina for being part of our show. He taught us a lot about the difference between conventional tackle and fly fishing, and the fact that there's so many similarities and it's all about presentation. I learned a lot. If you want to learn more about this show, go to our website, thenewflyfisher.com, or check out our YouTube channel. From all of us here at The New Fly Fisher, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the water.
Hi, I'm Tom Rosenbauer. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this and you want to see more, subscribe and you can get all our weekly uploads.